Hi, this is Starkey Sowers. Welcome again to another Plus Program training series. Today's topic is macronutrients, proteins, and this is part one. All right, so we've been doing kind of like a little mini series on macronutrients. We did carbohydrates in the past, and so now we're going to do proteins today and kind of give you a little bit of overview about proteins. A couple unique things about proteins. Obviously, it is a macronutrient. So when we look at macronutrients, there's proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. The micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. All right, some significant things about macronutrients. They provide calories, they provide energy. At the same time, they're also necessary for a lot of functions in the body, as we're going to see later on, especially when it comes to proteins. But structural components would be one of them, as well as different types of cellular components, enzymes, and things of that nature are all made from macronutrients. All right, so macronutrients, proteins specifically. So the word protein comes from proteos, which is a Greek word which means of primary importance. So literally, proteins are considered probably the most important macronutrient. The word itself, protein, says it. All right, so with that said, proteins not only being essential for the body, not only critical, there's also a couple unique things about them. Proteins and fats, ultimately you can live with them. You can't live without them. Carbohydrates, believe it or not, you can live without them. Might not be very comfortable, especially if anybody's ever tried like a low carbohydrate or ketogenic type diet. It's a little uncomfortable living without carbohydrates, especially since the brain likes to live on glucose. Ultimately, though, you can't live without proteins and you can't live without fats. So that was one of the reasons why proteins are of primary importance. And we'll kind of look at a couple substantial things about proteins in that reference range. But I want to look at the foundations of proteins. So when we look at the foundations of proteins, a couple unique things. First of all, they're made of what we call amino acids. Amino acids ultimately are the foundations or the building blocks for proteins. So what we mean by that is a protein molecule might have like 100 amino acids all tacked together to make one particular protein molecule. These amino acids being various different types. There's roughly about 20 different types of amino acids, depending on the authority that you talk to. Some people say there's 22, but ultimately a lot of people agree that there's 20 different amino acids. Of those 20 different amino acids, 8 of them are considered essential. So what does it mean to be essential? Just that, essential. You're not going to live life very good, or shall we say, you're not going to live life very full without those 8 essential amino acids. All right, so what are the names of those 8 essential amino acids? At Clark's, we like to use the acronym TV till PM. So threonine, valine, tryptophan, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, as well as phenylalanine and methionine, kind of gives you the list of those 8 essential amino acids that the body needs every single day in order to maintain you. All right, a couple unique things about those essential amino acids. If you're lacking in one of those essential amino acids, the body can actually go through different types of what we would classify as almost like conditions. So for instance, if you're lacking tryptophan, which tryptophan, a lot of people maybe know a little bit about tryptophan, but tryptophan is necessary for growth. Without tryptophan, your body's not going to grow properly. At the same time, the body can't make what is known as serotonin. Serotonin helps to regulate sleep as well as mood, as well as like energy levels as well too. So it kind of gives you a little illustration with the lack of one particular amino acid actually might create all sorts of situations in the body. In fact, each one of those 8 essential amino acids might have anywhere from like maybe 10 to maybe 40 or 50 different specific functions in the body. So you look at those 8 essential amino acids, go, no big deal. Those are 8 essential amino acids. With those 8 essential amino acids should be able to cover everything. If I'm missing one, no big deal. No, actually, you miss one of them, you're going to miss a lot of different functions that the body would actually need with one particular amino acid. All right, so essential to have those 8 essential amino acids. Good ways to get them is particularly like maybe protein foods and things of that nature that we're going to talk about later. So we're going to look specifically at some of the things on that. So one of the things I want to do is kind of round out this first part series. It's kind of like maybe look at some of the areas where proteins fit into the body. So when we look at that, we look at proteins specifically, a couple unique things. We see that they're actually structural components. So what does it mean to be a structural component? So when it comes to your bones are actually made out of protein molecules. Collagen specifically, along with calcium and other different types of components, is what actually makes up those collagen fibers and makes up the bone tissue. Muscle tissue. Muscle tissue is what moves the bones. Without muscle tissue, you basically got a bag of bones that aren't going to go anywhere, all right? So you've got to have the muscle tissue to move you forward. At the same time, tendons and ligaments hold together the joints and prevent those bones from falling apart. All right, so once again, protein, 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 all the way down the list. All right, so the next thing is enzymes. Digestive enzymes is typically what we think of. We think of like hydrochloric acid or maybe pancreatin or things of that nature. Yes, definitely digestive enzymes, but as well as digestive enzyme, also cellular enzymes as well too, which are the cells themselves have little tiny enzyme systems that work inside of them. So proteins are necessary for that as well. So then the immune system, immunoglobulins. Let's say you get sick, the body has like a memory system and makes out of proteins what we call an immunoglobulin system, or what we call an antibody that actually is ready for the next invasion, so to speak. So the other thing we look at is hormones. I like to say that everything above the belly button is an amino acid derived hormone. So you think of insulin, you think of pituitary hormones, thyroxine, all these different types of hormones, all amino acid derived substances. Then we also look at energy components. The body can actually take amino acids and make glucose out of it. We call it glyconeogenesis. So that can occur. The other thing that can occur with amino acids or proteins as well too is pH balancing. So it comes to the balancing aspect in the body's bloodstream. When you look at it, amino acids are typically one of those components. Oftentimes we think of amino acids as being acidic. Amino acids actually can be basic, they can be acidic, and they can also be alkalizing on the system. So that kind of gives you a little roundup. When we start thinking about proteins, you might be getting a little bit excited. When we look at phase 2 or the next session, we're going to actually see some unique things about it. But I want you to kind of maybe instill one thought. Amino acids are absolutely necessary. Without amino acids, your body's not going to function. And we absolutely have to have proteins on a regular basis. So that kind of wraps up Series 1. Appreciate you watching. Don't forget to watch Series 2. I think everything kind of comes to life in that next session. Thanks again. This is Starkey Sowers for watching another Plus Program training series.